means serving others, bringing a meal to the table, eating with friends, and love.
Food means a lot of things. It's fuel in an efficient sense, but it's also definitely like an important sort of like spiritual gathering time. Like it's also a time of the day when you choose to consume food, and it's definitely like a blessing on my life. Like it's definitely a form of privilege that I have, like easy access to food.
Food means many people coming together, sitting around a table or sitting on the floor, using lots of different utensils to eat, or even using your hands. It means people taking time to spend time face to face with one another. It means, oh gosh, it means everything.
Food is very important to me. Food, I think my whole day evolves around food. I love to eat very nutritious. I've grown up with food as being very social, and it takes a while to prepare, which makes it very special. I do not like things out of boxes and wrappers, and I like to take the time and prepare food also with my children. They want to know, and then they do know where food comes from, and if it's not visual no more, I hold up a piece of ham and say this is from a pig, or this is, they know about animals, and we have a garden, we do a lot of gardening, so I have a very holistic approach, and it's very important for me.
Food for me is bringing together people over something that takes time and love and is comforting on levels that I feel I can't express in words.
Food to me means community, and it means family. I grew up low income in the Detroit, Michigan area, and for us, it didn't matter how little food we had. If there was any food, it was meant to be shared.
Well, food means like it's bring everyone together. How food is life. Without food, we can't be alive.
I mean, it's just a good context in which people gather, like at Mecca, people gather in the cafe over their food, or like as a family, it's often important to have like a communal meal time. There's the gathering and the making of food, like creating events where you cook specific things at a specific time of year.
My family was never like really that close, but for holidays, the same times that my mother and grandmother would cook together, cousins, aunts and uncles would all come over, and I might see them for once or twice a year, and it was around those tables. So
Food brings people together for me in my family. Like my wife and my children and I always have a dinner together every night, and it's very intentional. And we cook together, and we all sit down together, and we eat at a table, and we eat, and we talk about our day. And that's a tradition we've started that we're hoping we can continue.
Food is something that you really bond with folks over, because it's something that is so basic to us. Obviously, it's a basic need.
I think by its very virtue, food brings people together. I mean, it's what we use to base all like social occasions around and meetings around. So I think food naturally brings people together, and therefore I think lack of food naturally leaves people feeling alone.
I think there are a lot of good ways to improve food access, but here in Portland, when we talk about the realities of our climate and our space limitations, I think that one of the best things we can do is send school-age children through some sort of learning process, be it a semester-long immersion or tours or simple access to a school greenhouse, so that they understand the nuts and bolts of growing food and where their food comes from, and including, agriculture, so not just plants, but also animals, shellfish, seafood, all the, systems of food, so that when they are thrust out as consumers into the world, they at least have that understanding that these things come from the dirt. And I don't think within an urban situation we have a lot of opportunities to give everybody a garden bed. We could probably do a lot better with the space we have than we do. But I think more realistically is for us to better support all the growers who are currently growing. So really diverting much more of our dollars into local growers that can come into the city once a week and service the city with their goods, as opposed to cityites driving out to them. So when we talk about sustainability, it's the whole picture. It's the carbon footprint, it's transportation, it's access to land, it's density. We don't want to encourage everybody to go out and buy a house with a half an acre and grow their own food on it, because that splits instead of bringing people together. So there's got to be a way to do urban education around food systems to basically create an educated consumer. Not everybody is going to be able to grow their own food, at least not through all points of their life. So finding ways to connect the people who are not going to grow their own food with the people who can grow good food locally, and by giving those dollars back, we'll just get more diversity in the local food system, more season extension by local growers, because they'll have such a higher economy to work with. So.
Food is such a monopoly here, and it's so political, and it's so much money involved, and I especially see it at schools where they bring all this, I'm sorry, but bad food into these schools, and there's nothing the schools can do about, nothing the parents can do about, because it's such a lobby. There's these big dairy companies, there are the big beef and meat companies out there, and they get substituted from the state and from the government. So there's not much that, it needs like all these grassroots movements and all these urban farmers to really speak up, and it has to come from the bottom.
I think if we focus more on food that is local and that doesn't have to travel, that isn't based on our oil economy, but it's based on people not outsourcing as much, but growing more and trading with each other what they have for what they need, and knowing that keeping it secure by knowing that if the grocery store closed, you could always get some food either from yourself that you stored or from your neighbor.
By educating our kids in the schools and out there, by telling them how food is important for all of us, and why we should have healthy food, this is, I think, it will increase or it can decrease the amount of hunger in the world.
I think it's one of those issues that is a systemic problem. So it's going to take a lot more than just small public policies and local initiatives. It's going to take people awakening to the fact that our system is sick and that we need to promote equality, and then also especially wage equality, because food is expensive. It's people don't have a lot of time. A lot of the working poor are subject to what our system has actually valued, which is big agriculture, and that's commodity crops. Those are it's literally making our society sick. So I think once we realize that we need to get that out of the picture and put wholesome, real value back into our food and time and slow it down, I think we might see some systemic change and maybe greater access to food. But I think that what we need to do is things like this, where we have people coming around and talking about the value of food.